Hello everyone, this is my first video. I'm not really into recording, so I'm not gonna waste time on fancy intros or something like that. I just want to expand on the posts and updates that I publish on Twitter. So let's take this just like an extended update, okay? By the way, English is not my native language, so I'll try my best to speak clearly, and please forgive any possible mistakes, okay? So first of all, we're gonna check the BTC weekly chart, okay? And I have the the weekly 50 EMA, okay? What we can see, and as we have discussed over the past days and weeks, what BTC has done so far is actually perfectly retest the trend, okay, the 50 EMA, which has also done in early, like mid 2023 and in summer 2024. It is kind of the line in the sand, okay? It's like we have to hold it for the bull run to be alive. We can perhaps stay below for some time, like in 2023 or even 2021 summer, okay, but losing it, okay, we can see the whole run here. We reclaimed it in 2019. We stayed below for a little bit. This is the COVID crash, so I wouldn't really consider it. It's just a black swan. So we stay above it, okay? So if we take a look at the 2021 correction, which was huge, by the way, it was a 50%, if I recall correctly. Yeah, 50, 54, 55% was huge. What we can see is, first of all, there were a few weeks below the 50 EMA, okay, even candles. But this was kind of a capitulation candle and a V reversal, okay? So we have this kind of absorption wicks, and the lows weren't taken, okay? Pretty much we could argue just this. You can see it was a retest of the first, let's say, big drop here in 2021, in early 2021. So it was the lows retested, okay? And one of the most interesting things I find is the behavior of the RSI. This whole retest, it never went below, let's say, 41, 42, more or less, okay. This might be just, useless data, but as we will see here, it's been very useful, this whole bull run, okay? We could adapt it to 44, 43, pretty much, more or less. That's the level, okay? This first level. So back to here, when we reclaimed it, we have another leg, but the trend was already exhausted. It was more, if I recall correctly, it was mostly driven by perps. So yeah, there wasn't very much like spot driven move. So the moment we lost it again, we can see the picture is way different. Here we can see the absorption wicks, so to speak, okay? But here we see several weekly rejections, especially with these ugly wicks. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit. Very ugly weekly wicks. So this was, I think this was enough to see the trend was exhausted, okay? It dipped below the 42, stayed in there for a while, and then we had our dead cat bounce, okay? Fake out about the EMA, also for RSI, above the EMA, the moving average, but the market was already in. okay? And the moment we lost it, we lost the RSI MA, the drop was huge, as we can see here, okay? And then we had the bottom formation, which also triggered, so to speak, a bullish divergence, okay? Which was also reflected on the monthly. So back to the importance of the 50 EMA. Once BTC attacked it again after the bottom, okay, it got initially rejected, and it's obvious that people could be skeptical. After all, this rejection could end in a revisit of the lows, why not? But the thing is, RSI was recaptured here at the bottom, it went by, it went up, and even after this rejection, it never crossed the RSI MA. It doesn't necessarily, I mean, there is no 100% perfect indicator, but normally when the RSI is above the MA, it shows strength, and when below, it shows weakness. Okay, so it takes time to regain strength, as we can see here in all of these moves. So once BTC reclaimed it, rejected, printed a high low, the first one, we could argue this at around 20k. We could argue the bottom is in, right? RSI is rising, no longer going down like it had done since the top was completely going down, as we can see. Once it reclaimed it, retested, again rejected at these new highs, but it was, if we can see, it was always high lows all the time. Here it respected the new lows below the average, and it created for around 2 months, from August to October, 2 months, it created a new bottom. Yes, it was below the RSI MA, but as I said earlier, it kept about this, let's say, bull run level, okay? As long as it's above, the bull run is alive, okay? So the the EMA held, created kind of a launch spot because it stayed around it, or even holding it, we could say, for 2 months. And the next move came. The moment we overextend from the 50, especially after reaching 88 RSI, as we did here, it was obvious that, I'm not going to say a retest could come, but there was it was necessary to have a cool-off period, okay? So let's analyze this, because I think it's very, very interesting, this downtrend and the sentiment back then. Everything, the only thing that kept people alive back then about the hopes for a new push, it wasn't a potential retest and continuation of the 50 EMA. It was just Q4 seasonality, right? Everyone was spamming that. You know, when you have such an idea, until it happens, I mean, until the time comes, like Q4, you can't say it is invalidated. So here we have October, pretty much Q4, and everything started to run. So yes, people said, you know, I was right. But what we had was another retest of the 50 EMA. All this time, okay, BTC, after losing the RSI MA, which was around here, I think this was a good moment to the risk, especially if you were in alts. I know they could also keep pumping. They had already pumped a lot. I remember Pepe printing 8x in just February, 1 month or 5 weeks. That was insane. But what if you hold for another, let's say, 50% push, but instead it goes down 50, 60, 70%, right? Now you need like a 2, 3x just to go back to the break even, okay? So, I mean, that's risk management. Everyone has their own goals and their own risk tolerance. So, but I'm just saying, we all know that it's not very sensitive, and these kind of chops, I mean, like we had in 2023 and 2024, BTC chopping like this, like it retraces perhaps 10%, alts can go back like 30%, small pump alts can't follow, but this next drop provides like another 20-30%, so they get destroyed here. Okay, so Q4 seasonality, that was the main reason everyone was still hopeful. But technically speaking, we could argue this was lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Yes, many people said, why wasn't that a bull flag? And it's true. I also said that. Why not? The risk with bull flags is you can draw them no matter how long you want to draw them, but it could also be 70% drop after it's over, right? So you gotta be careful. Technically speaking, that was bad, but it was just a retest and the RSI was holding. So the moment it bounced from it, reclaimed the RSI MA, after a successful retest, broke above it, retest and continued. We printed a new higher low and we resumed the uptrend. So what about now? I remember posting, I'm not gonna look for it, sorry, I don't want to waste much time, but if you have followed me for a while, you know I posted, if the bull market, if the bull market is alive, it let's say has to bounce from this level, back when it was retesting again the 50 EMA, like when it did here. Look at this, same week it retest, same bounce from and retest from this RSI level, and that's what BTC has done so far. It has bounced from here. Is the bottom in? I believe if the bull run is alive, it should be in, right? Could we have another retest perhaps here at, let's say, 78, 79k? Sure. Could we have another retest of the RSI? Sure. Why not? But I think this has to hold and this RSI level has to hold as well. If we change to the daily, okay, I think I have a clearer chart here. This is the one where I have drawn the different levels that BTC has to reclaim. Currently, we have lost the 84k, and the daily RSI has crossed vertically, which pretty much has created this bigger drop. But this opens the door to test the lows again. However, there's still some low time frame levels that BTC has to test before that, like this level, which is about 82 something, I think. Yes, 82.5 we could say. It could still test it and bounce, and this could be a high low. Higher high compared to this, if you want to argue that, but we are still in a downtrend. Okay, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So as long as we print a high low here, reclaim 84, perhaps at the weekly close, that would be good. We could attack again. 87k and start the reversal, right? Reclaim again the daily and attack the new leg. We switch to the weekly. We can see, which is something that I have mentioned as well on a different post. I think, sorry, let me end this quickly. I want to just undo everything. So I said this potential retest will be the key. Could it be 92k? 91k? Yeah, sure. The reaction here from BTC is going to tell what's next. Is this just a dead cat bounce when we print a lower high, got rejected here, and the bull trend is over? Or perhaps we retest the lows, but I wouldn't want to see that, especially if we open the stochastic RSI when oscillators has been reset. And if we are in a bull run, I believe these has to push back up. Otherwise, it would be like in the bear market. It does pretty much nothing, right? There's no strength at all, right? No strength, just bottoming process while oscillators reset. Okay, the good thing is we're still holding key levels, but we won't see true strength and action unless the RSI MA is recaptured. That's when the 2024 downtrend, we could say it started here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Started here when we lost it, stopped here when we reclaimed it. Okay, so the moment we reclaimed it, actually, I mean, it's very clear the new trend started. The moment we had these, which by the way, pretty much no one pointed it out, the moment we rejected here, which was pretty much here, we had the weakness that I mentioned back in December, weakness building, clearly. The moment we rejected here was, look at this, we just lost it, retested it, and got rejected. You add to that various divergence, you add the huge open interest back here in mid-December, and you have the recipe to the risk. Now, where would it bottom? So if the bull market is alive again, this was like the last moment, to the last place to bounce. So we have a few confluence points for the bottom to say the bottom is in. As we said, the 50 weekly EMA, which was the 76k, with oscillators like a stock RSI completely reset. Now we have a bullish crush, which by the way came right after this bottom, and the bounce from the RSI MA. So far, that should be good enough to say the bottom is in. Doesn't mean we go straight up. No, I mean we had two strong wicks here. Rejected with still pushed, rejected once, rejected twice. Could we test the 22.5? Yeah, sure, perfectly, we could. As I said, retest here, bounce again, retest here, bounce again, and we kind of this would be like a flat retest. We could print a higher low here, so it's still alive. The problem is what's the SPX is doing. I remember posting the last two instances within this bull market when the SPX dropped below the 200 trend, the moving averages. So it was kind of a V reversal, okay, in both scenarios. But I pointed out here, which I still haven't edited, we pointed here the rejection, which is something we have seen with very nasty weekly price action. Okay, so we could say that it was just a bounce from oversold levels. Look at the daily stock RSI. Was obviously correction was needed, at least to cool off, but it couldn't hold. I'm gonna make this thinner. It couldn't hold support, which is something that I'm worried about, to be honest, together with the 200 days rejection. Okay, if we go to RSI, it's pretty much about to, oh, it's already below the moving average, which could start like a bigger drop like we saw here, okay, when it got lost. So SPX is clearly dragging BTC with it, and if we switch to the weekly, it doesn't look way better, right? Still the stock RSI is oversold, but it hasn't found any bullish cross yet, and RSI is really low. If we apply the same kind of horizontal levels for RSI, look where we are now. If we take a look at the two other instances where the SPX dipped below the 200, okay, it was here, let's say here, and here, okay. We can see the RSI, I'm gonna remove this, the RSI still well above this 38, which was the bottom here in October, bounced, and right now we are getting close to that level again, which hasn't been lost since the bottom. This was the bottom, temporarily lost, but printing a multi-week bullish divergence. Okay, so even though it was lost, it was already a higher low. Okay, again, similarly to BTC, this shouldn't be lost. Otherwise, we could say the trend is over. We could say, doesn't mean it has to, but the whole bull run here was intact. We lost it. It was a bear market. 2022. Again, doesn't mean it has to happen. But I was also mentioning since November, again, I'm not going to look for the tweets, but it was saying, look, November, that there was a weekly bearish divergence building, which kept going until February. And back here, I posted that these, sorry, I'm going to use an arrow. This was an engulfing candle. This one, around 6K, 660, more or less, yeah, 6K. And this was a double rejection of the RSI-MA. Enough for continuation. Especially because when we saw earlier, I'll remove the drawings again, these kind of engulfing candles, I pointed out that this is another confluence with all these we have seen here for more downside. How long? I don't know, but a few weeks, according to, we can have another one here, right? You can see it's here, another engulfing candle and another double rejection. It's very, very, very similar. The thing is, this was the start of a bear market. Is this the same now? I believe this RSI level will tell if it's or not. Okay? So, As long as SPX is still hopefully finding its bottom, which might be in here, where BTC will struggle. We know the correlation is strong right now. I think this doesn't qualify as a very good high time frame support level. I would like to see these reclaimed, to be honest. We could say this is the even this, more or less. But to say we are back, I would like to be, above 5,700, okay, which, by the way, was rejected this week. So SPX still has work to do, but I think there's still chance to see new highs, especially because if we factor in the economical conditions, we are entering in a cutting or probably cutting period. The economy is still holding, and I think this is pretty much the tariffs fear, which, by the way, by the 2nd of April the 2nd, we'll have more clarity, because I believe that's the date where they will be applied. I have also seen Trump talking about some potential modifications to those tariffs, so to speak, so we'll see. Finally, we have the USDT chart, which, as I said a few times, only weekly it has rejected this RSI level, which it hasn't crossed in this whole bull run. Okay, this was the distribution bear market. This is for BTC. Remember that the correlation between USDT and BTC is 1-on-1 inverse. So this top distribution was the bear market accumulation for BTC, right? It broke down. You can see it was the same way BTC was losing strength RSI wise. On the weekly, USDT was doing here, okay, in this bottom bear divergence, while BTC was printing a bullish divergence since the summer. Okay, remember, inverse correlation, one to one. Okay, so it broke the range, bear flag, broke again, and this is the kind of 5.5 is the level I don't want to see it close on the weekly. Right now it is bouncing again, but it's already rolling over. We could say, okay, yes, but it's somehow pushing again. If we go to the BTC chart, sorry, I'm going to remove all the drawings. If we go here, we could also say, hey, look, BTC is bouncing again. New high is coming. Yeah, sure, but let's see what the stock RSI was telling. It was rolling over already, pushed back again. But look what the stock RSI and the RSI was telling. No, this has no strength. This bounce has no strength at all. It's just a fake out. And it was confirmed later, until the bottom. So something similar could happen here. It could keep rolling out. It could make a double top, roll over until it resets. Hopefully breaking below the EMA to bring acceleration to crypto, and perhaps the same way we have analyzed for BTC, bounce from these levels, RSI wise, bounce from these levels, perhaps bounce from here, break back again, and the bull market for BTC is over. So we will see. Okay, I just hope this first video, it's being a little bit improvised, just had a few charts I wanted to discuss. I wasn't thinking about any particular length, just a first test, so to speak. So again, I just want to expand on the ideas I post. I'm not looking forward to doing this as a living or as a hobby or something like that, just trying to be helpful and use it like an extended journal, so to speak. So I hope it's useful. If you have anything to add, just let me know on Twitter. See you next time, guys.